Let's talk about the best teams for Conquest and GAC Focused. Now, quickly, disclaimers. Obviously, Conquest defeats change, so we're going to focus on things that have been a pattern for Capital Games. What are teams that they're constantly reusing, buffs they're constantly reusing? And then you might ask, well, what are your qualifications to talk about this? I have gotten Max Crate ever since the second Conquest ever in GAC Heroes, and I do not buy the plus pass they give you the free feats. So I'm still doing all of the feats that I'm not paying to skip that and get data for free. So I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to what teams are being used the most. I also have a database of teams that I personally have used on my main account and my alt account going back until April of 2023. So I have a year and a half worth of Conquest teams. I said, okay, well, what's the most common? What are the most common teams that are getting most of the feats done? So let's talk about that. The first most important team, and I know JML isn't the most popular Galactic Legend, he is the most important character in Conquest by a mile. It's not even close. This is such an important team for Conquest because you can stick any light side character in this last spot. And if you need, I don't know, let's say you need kills with Jawa Engineer, Jawa Scavenger, toss him in there. Gear 12 with no Chirotex. You can use JML's granted ability that his lead gives. All allies gain inherited teachings, and you can call that light side ally, call target other light side ally to assist, and you get kills with him. If you have a sector that needs Ewok kills, you stick one Ewok in this team, everybody calls that Ewok to assist, get you Ewok kills. It is by far the most important team we have, and very important to mention Wat Tambor here, because you do need to give JML the... Is it here? Yeah, here we go. You need to give him the Bactoid Shield Journey, or the Tank Tech, as we like to call it. Makes JML taunt while as protection, because JML will not taunt when you have non-full Jedi. So you do need at least JML, JKL, and Watt. Jedi Revan's really nice to have in here, but you do need those three if you needed to like have two characters in here to survive. For example, if you needed to do two characters surviving and you don't have Rey, which is the next team we'll talk about. For example, recently we needed Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan, and you didn't have them relict, you could do this. Well, technically they're Jedi, so you could even also have Jedi Revan, so probably not the best example, but I think you more or less get the point. He is here to cheese kills or survives if you need him, or both. Next one is any light side survives team. You stick him here under Rey, and everyone's getting damage immunity under Rey. And if you really had to, take their mods, make them basically no speed, so they sit there in damage immunity for the whole battle while the rest of your team kills everybody. It's just really important. And I know, again, Conquest feats change. We always have survives, we always have kills. Those are consistent in every Conquest. And this solves any light side ones. There's not an easy solution for dark side kills, unfortunately. There's not a whole lot I can help you with there. There's not an easy solution for dark side survives. All you can do with dark side survives is JML up here. You can also use him for that because they don't have to be light side. So you could stick Darkshire Moff Gideon in here if he needed to survive, or Enoch when they inevitably give us Enoch feats. You can do all of that in this JML team. The next one, I know people don't like to hear this, and you don't need Reva for this. You can do just Grand Inquisitor. It's no big deal at all. But the Inquisitorious faction is so strong in Conquest. You can have Reva, you can have Seven Sister, doesn't matter. But let's look about without Reva. So GI himself has all these buffs that he gives to everyone. Offense up, speed up, tenacity up. And he's like the least important one. He's got an AoE ability block on all targets with Purge. Jam also has an AoE ability block, but he has an AoE ability block. Also crit damage up, but there's a lot of ways to get crit damage up. But then we've got super weird ones like Daze, AoE defense down and potency down. We've got, let's see, is it 8th Brother? Yeah, 8th Brother is accuracy down and burning. The burning, well, it can't be resisted by Jedi, but you get both those. So again, if you need a bunch of buffs, he's got a bunch of debuffs here too. If you need Armor Shred, this is not the best way to get Armor Shred if there was an Armor Shred feat, but worth mentioning. And one of them also had a really strong basic. She's got a great buff as well. Let's see, all has gained crit hit immunity and foresight and evasion up. So like I think you kind of are starting to get the picture here. I don't think she has a whole lot of unique ones, right? She's just here to make the battles easier. Yeah, so defense down, a healing immunity. If you had a healing immunity, swap her in. But like in general, this faction has so many buffs and debuffs that like a lot of the times, for example, our current conquest, just to give an example, their buffs and debuffs can accumulate to feats in sector 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are so many buffs and debuffs on this team. So just worth mentioning that Inquisitors have such a high variety of buffs and debuffs that they're super strong. Super strong conquest. Grievous. This is for the boss feats and the mini boss feat, the Hokey Religions. Now, couple disclaimer: Jabba is the best one there. Jabba is the best Hokey Religions team, but if you don't have Jabba, Grievous is going to be your cheapest thing to build up. It's going to clear most boss and mini boss teams. And the fifth, you can do Watt, you can do Droidica, you can do Stap, you could really do whatever. You can do BB-8. Doesn't matter, but they're great at that, and that's because they just wind up getting tons of stuff from disc. Like you could slap some vitalities on here, and all of a sudden Grievous is doing crazy high damage, or like what's the ambitious assassin? Or no, not ambitious assassin. Amplified agony, where the debuffs do max health damage, and then B2's hitting like a truck all the time. Zealous ambition. You've got if you stick Watt in here. Well, no, he's not really benefit. Anyway, point is that the Grievous is really good at clearing boss and mini boss nodes for the Hokey Religions fleet. Hokey Religions knocks out every GL team in the game except Jabba. It knocks out, well, Leia, I guess now, right? You can do Leia. She's not an unaligned force user, so you can do Leia. So Leia or Jabba you can do for Hokey Religions. The only other common Hokey Religions team I see at this like level is Imperial Troopers. And Imperial Troopers can't do as many as Grievous because in hard conquest in like Sector 4 and Sector 5, you're not always going to be able to go first, and you might need like a Frenzy Tech with Watt or something like that. It's really brutal. To me, this was always my go-to before I got Jabba. The next most important one we're going to talk about, similar, train to Riva, buffs and debuffs. We got a lot of debuffs on basics here. We got a lot of buffs. Won't go through all of them, but we got like buff immunity. We've got stuns. We've got evasion down. We've got blind. We've got, like I said, tenacity down already, right? And then we've got a bunch of buffs from Han here. We've got crit chance up and evasion up, and then some crit damage up. So we've got a bunch of different buffs and debuffs on this team as well. And then something that's really important for conquest, you get a lot of options here. And let me move my webcam to the other side. There it goes. So if you really need like I like to call it an FU button in conquest, JMK is amazing. So this is like, hey, I'm stuck on a team. Like either I'm stuck on a really hard Star Killer team or something. JMK just walks over most of them because they can't gain turn meters. So like you don't have to worry about the Carthel Republic teams. You don't have to worry about Star Killer teams. And there's lots of options for this. Lord Vader's a good FU team. Gas is a good FU team. JMK is a good FU team. A lot of options here, but just worth mentioning that like none of the stuff we've listed where you're trying to get feats are necessarily super good FU teams because you kind of want your FU teams to only be like I'm full stamina on this team and I'm 40% on the rest of my stuff. Use your FU team basically. Last thing, so these are my honorable mention characters. So Jabba for Hokey Religions as well as Bounty Hunters can work toward a lot of feats. A lot of them. They have a wide variety of faction. But honorable mention for Jabba. Padme, we get support or like healer feats all the time. And Padme in the support team with Zealous Ambition. If we have Zealous Ambition for that configuration of Conquest, it's really nice. Not enough to make the list, but enough to get an honorable mention. Sabine Wren is the best armor shred person. It's only a 2-turn cooldown. She's amazing for armor shred. Well, best that you can get that's not like a legendary or like super. She's being super accessible, and you can toss her like we talked about earlier. You could toss her in a JML team or array team, keep her alive, let her get some armor shreds. You can put her in CLS also for translation from 3PO. That works out really well. Next up's Watt for Frenzy Tech. So in Conquest, you can get these Frenzy Techs. Let me see if I can find one, show you what I'm talking about. Might even have one in my inventory. Oh, let's take a look. We can find one, I'm sure. Yep, there we go. Additional for, and they sell these just for conquest currency, also not just crystals. And that's at the start of the battle, all allies gain frenzy for 2 turns, and that's like if you were having trouble with one of these, like win with General Beers in your squad, or that kind of thing. You stick Watt in there with the Watt Zeta. He's going to go first at the start of battle, give somebody a tech, and boom, you're off to the races. Everyone on the team has 100% turn meter. That does not work in combination with JMK. Keep that in mind because you can't gain turn meter. But that works great with like SLKR or Lord Vader or JML, CLS, Riva. I mean, like, you just toss him in a team, give him 100% turn meter, and go. This is just a cute, funny one. If you have a defense up feat, this is super easy. You get this in one battle. You toss in Clone Wars, Chewie, Calvin Mass Malik, something, just a bunch of tanks, and you'll get the defense up feat in one battle. So it's a common Sector 1, Sector 2 feat they like to throw at us as defense up, and this is a fun way to do it. There's other better ways, Bad Batch, some other things, but anybody can do this. Anybody can get defense up feats using Clone Wars, Chewie lead. So that's a funny little honorable mention. But I think that'll about do it for today. What are your favorite conquest teams? What are you using that seems like it covers so many feats? How hard do you push in conquest? Are you making that 530 box that I always talk about being the minimum, or are you kind of a little casual, 450, or are you hardcore like me? You're hitting that max box every time. I'd love to know. If this helped you out, please, like and subscribe. We're pushing toward hopefully 500 subs by the end of the year, and I will see you guys in the next video.